Well, welcome in to the SorareData Football Strategy Show. I am Andrew Laird. You can find me as Lairdinho on Sorare. Joined once again by PSU fans too, Sean Newsham. Today to talk about Joshua Kimmich. But before we do that, I'm taking all of these shots in the chat about being late. So in this software that we use, you can see like the timestamp of the comments. And this good old Lairdinho came in right at the moment we were supposed to start. I don't get it. We started. Here we are. What gives?
Yeah, I mean,
at one point, am I so late that I have to take a pregnancy test, which is a pretty good line, actually.
I feel like you started on time. If anything, today I was the one that showed up. I mean, I was on time too, but I was later than I normally would be hopping in. I was talking to Tony Watt. Watt bought some uniques, Laird. He wants to know how he's trying to get my opinion on stuff, and I'm like, you're gonna get like a threshold every once a month, maybe. He thinks he's gonna get a threshold like more frequently than I get a threshold in uniques. I'm like, all right, good luck. But so Watt was talking to me and he's like, well, he's like, you want to bet it? I'm like, I honestly don't even know because I have no time to take a look at anything. So couldn't tell you.
I don't know if there's anybody who moves through Sorare as much as Tony.
Well, so I definitely, people are asking if I leave the house to get a haircut. Yes, I do. I leave the house to get a haircut. One of the few times that I leave the house. So go. The Good Place wants a show about moving to Unique 240. Let's go. Well, let's just start it off here. We'll go look at Watt's. Buys, Laird, and we'll see how often you think he's going to hit the threshold.
What's his name again?
Equipe 32. I think. I don't know. He's had different things. But
yeah, I was adding an L in the front for some reason.
Yeah. So Mike Basson said PSU fans 2.1 must be the holdup. Yeah, he's having formula-related issues that he just vomited on himself like 20 minutes ago. So we had to clean that up, and Wake's currently giving him a bath. So you might be able to hear him like whining in the background.
So these are the uniques here.
Yeah.
Sebastian Poulter, Yuri Edinviska, and whatever Ricky Lammy is.
Yeah.
I mean, we can just figure, let's see how they would have done, at least. We can do that. Cap 240 unique. This guy is, I remember.
He literally just messaged me and he said he likes to.
I think he just got muted.
Yeah, so this was my point to him. He's like, I like to change it up a lot. And I said, I'm like, this, because he's asked me about this like a week or two ago. I don't know. I don't remember when he brought it up to me. Maybe like at this time of the year, everything's a blur to me. And so he tells me, so the issue is you need to get to 280. And it looks like you're not getting to 280 very frequently with this.
Well, so this is missing a goalie, but he also only has 34 points left.
Correct. So like you can't really get a goalie that is 34 points per se. Like
you can still use a super rare goalie, right?
Yeah, but like the problem is none are gonna ever be below 35 consistently. Like,
well, I mean, these guys could get worse. Meaning like the players, the uniques L15s could go down.
Yeah, so like, and he said he's gonna go buy some other like Scottish League uniques when they come out. But so like the issue is like you can't run this.
Correct.
Like you literally cannot run
coming up. Yeah.
So that's what I tried to say. So like, and then he said something about, well, so he wanted to bet me before the show, and he's like, I'll bet you I get it 2 out of the next 5 weekends. And I'm like, well, but he's like, if they all have games. I'm like, well, that's part of the problem is that like they're not all going to have games, and you need to have like 8 to 10 uniques, and you have to have like if you don't have like a bunch of options, like you probably just have to run like a shitbag goalie, which like I think Marshall. The issue is like what's I forget. Yeah, so like Marshall's gonna like he's okay because he's going down. Yeah, so Watt wants to get another mid to bring the score down. The issue is you get a mid to bring the score down, and then all of a sudden you're losing Visca. Visca's the guy with the best pop in this lineup to make it happen, right?
Sure.
Visca to me is like the key to this thing hitting the threshold somewhat frequently because he's like the guy that can pop. So the issue is that like you got to go get a couple more. You got to go get a couple more uniques. They're in different leagues. It's just a thing. So, anyways, what I told Watt at some point in the last 2 weeks is that I told him this was you're going to agree with this, Laird. What do you think my take was to Watt before I tell you? Because you're going to have this. I'm going to say it, and you're going to be like, "Yep, that's what I would have guessed you said."
I would have just assumed that you would, like, if he brought this idea to you beforehand,
He
you would
did.
have just been like, don't do that.
I sort of did. I didn't say it with like my normal like tone because I'm just too freaking busy. I'm just like, this is what I told Watt. I'm like, I don't know. This just doesn't make much sense to me because you move around on Sorare more than literally anybody I've ever seen. And you're literally moving into the most immovable objects on the platform, a shitbag unique, right? Like you're moving into a group that is just very, very difficult to move, and Watt likes to move all the time. So, like, you know what? Who Watt gave up to make this happen, Laird?
I don't.
Maro Icardi Super Rare. So he gave up like a very valid piece that has quite a bit of validity to it and like solid options, and he now has like these uniques who I just think are going to be difficult to move. And I think what's going to happen is most likely he's not going to hit threshold for a few weeks, and he's going to be like, all right, I'm ready to move again. And then Watt's going to be like on the move, but he's going to be sitting there because he doesn't, he's going to have like this Ricky Lammy unique. I've never heard of Ricky Lammy in my life. And he's going to be like, he's going to try to sell Ricky Lammy unique for what he paid, and no one's going to give him what he paid for it.
Yeah, I want to keep thinking it's Ricky Lambert, but it's not.
Yeah.
Sorry, the only reason why I went ahead is because I noticed that for this upcoming weekend. So obviously, I assume none of these guys L15s will change, but even if they, before tomorrow. But
yeah, I mean, well, did Visca have international? I think he's the only one that could maybe play internationally.
I don't even know. But anyway, the reason I looked is because Yuri is away to Barcelona this weekend. Marshall is away to Rangers. Lammy's away to Aberdeen. Poulter's away to Carl Ruscher.
I mean,
how we say it?
You're also leaving out Poulter's 60% to start, so like there just means there's some lack of clarity on that. I mean, it's early.
You're saying like they will be. I don't think you're expecting to hit on this lineup, but they're only 4 points away, so the following weekend looks okay.
Well, I think so. Key with
there's one, and now Tony's just got one more to go until
I think you were like losing some of when you did like the quick breakdown on like when they were plugging them in the lineup. I think like Yuri had 100. That was like his 15th score. So like he's gonna have 100 like come off of his number soon.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Okay. Yeah. So like so like his 15th game was 100.
So the 48 drops.
Yeah. No, it's the other way, isn't it?
But I'm saying the 48. No, 100 is his most recent score.
Oh, then yeah, you're screwed because then if you look at Marshall's most recent games have been good, and his back end games sucked. I know at some point it changed on SorareData, and it used to be the other way around. Are you sure that's how it is?
Skazmo thinks Yuri is going to hit 100 against Barcelona.
There you go. Are you sure that's how it is, Laird?
This 46 was October 7th.
Okay, all right, yeah. I can't keep track of stuff. Ignore me on that.
Akinfeyev instead of Marshall, but then you're making the cap even harder.
What? Come on. Now you're literally further away from the cap. Yeah, I think so. Scosmo said earlier you need like 7 or 8 uniques. What you want is like 7 or 8 uniques and a goalie that's always going to start that has like a 40 L15. So it's like he's going to start, but he kind of sucks, and you just sort of get his 40 and move out of the way.
I just want to Oh, quick interlude. Interlude's not the right word, but Watto. Germ said Watto tidy finish last game. That was an excellent finish, Tony.
Yeah,
So,
it's only because I wasn't in net, Laird. Come on.
because you weren't in goal, that's
Yeah,
why
if
I
I
went
was
in.
in net.
Of course, you said that.
Yeah, Watt wanted to bet. You know me, I don't give a shit about stuff like that. I mean, I will make fun of him and he can make fun of me and all that stuff, but like I don't actually care. So Watt wanted to make a bet. You know, I want to bet money instead of like Watt wanted to make a video saying he wouldn't be able to score against me, and if he won, I had to make a video saying that Watt sees things on Sorare I don't see or something. You know, I don't give a shit about that. I want cash dollars in my wallet. Yeah,
So you think you're more likely to stop him from scoring on you if money was on the table?
What?
You think you're more likely to stop his shot against you if you're playing for money?
No, I don't give a shit. I just want money in my pockets.
Uh,
I don't need to bet on stuff like I don't need to bet on wording and stuff. I need to bet on money. I want money in my pocket.
What is the unique threshold these days? 500?
Dude, I don't even know.
Is it $500?
Yeah, it's got
so far away from anything I've ever considered.
I mean, I play it every week and I don't even know. I think it's 500. I think it's 500 and Super is 250.
200 is Super.
200 Super? Yeah, I think it's 500 then because it's not 250.
Yeah, I mean, I get it.
Look, I'm not even saying it's bad, right? Because like, let's say this costs Watt, I don't know. Let's say 5 ETH. I don't know how much it cost. I really don't know how much he paid. You could probably go look that up. But like, let's say this cost Watt like 5 ETH, and you hit a threshold once a month. That's not bad. That's totally fine. The issue is that I know Tony Watt, like this dude, like changes his mind on Sorare more than anyone I've ever met in my life.
I can't even tell what any of these actually cost him. Like God knows how many trades he made to like even get these cards.
Yeah.
To then get like.
Yeah, like I mean, I literally like I have no idea because he was showing me and he was asking because I told him I don't have time right now to look at stuff. So he told me the other day he showed me like the Cardi Super for the Visca Neris Yuri Unique. I'm like, I have no idea. I'm like,
Visca Super Rare too. Oh, that's a decent.
Yeah, but he moved that already. I think.
Oh,
yeah, he did. Sold it.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I don't know. I have no idea.
Oh, that went into Polter. Okay.
Yeah. So like, who knows? I have no idea what it's all cost. Well, but like, say it's 5 ETH because it's probably less. It's probably like 3 ETH for what he's paid already. The issue is you can't consistently run this without getting more uniques in the future. So like you probably like let's say you get like 8 uniques and you have a couple goalies. So like you're probably talking 6 to 8 ETH conservatively. But like pretend you hit the threshold once a month. That's not bad. You recoup like half the money in one year, and if you get lucky and win one card, all of a sudden you've like paid off what you put in. So like it's not terrible. My take was more so from Tony's perspective is like Tony is going to run this lineup this weekend, and like you said, like Yuri's against Barca, so the one guy's not going to start all this other shit, and he's going to be like, "Yeah, I'm out. I'm moving to somewhere else," and then Watt's going to be like, "I'm moving to cap 270 unique." And then he's like, all right, well, I need to get like 4 more unique. And then once he does that, he's going to be like, I'm out. I'm going to go play unique kickoff. And it's going to be like, well, shit, you can't win anything there anyway, so it doesn't matter. And then he's going to be trying to sell this Yuri unique that everyone's going to be like, I don't want a Yuri unique.
Yeah, I'm not gonna shit on moving in and out of strategies and cards like this. Tony seems to have fun. That's all.
Yeah, as long as you have fun, that's all that matters. But I find it funny because like the only person that moves near as much as Tony is Haber, and Haber's like, what fucking moves in and out of cards so often. I'm like, I know.
No, I get it.
Quinny's here. Hello, Quinny.
Ragdan said he also loses the option to use unique cards in super rare leagues, which I guess.
Yeah, you can still use them in the unique or in the super rare.
No, I think the argument is if he's using all of his 4 uniques in Cap 240, then he can't use them in super rare division.
Gotcha. Yes, that is true. But I mean, I think he had 0 uniques until like a week ago. Where now he has like 4 uniques. Visca's a good card. Like, look, Visca's a good card. That card's got pop, and that's why I like that type of card in like that cat mode if you can fit it because it's not huge. But like Visca can go rip you a 90. Like he can go put again. And like you typically want like someone you can, if you're with the captain now, you want someone you can captain that's actually good.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
What?
Yeah,
what? I thought you were coming back to me for Graham Shinnie unique. I'll look at it now. I have time. It's a Monday. If you want to talk about the Graham Shinnie unique, let me know. But he was trying to give me the Cardi unique or the super, and I'm like, I want it, but like I don't want to pay that much for it right now because like Watt's like I want like 2 ETH. I'm like I don't want to give you like 2 ETH for it, but
for what card?
the Cardi super rare.
Oh, Cardi.
So I was like, I don't know.
You don't have one?
No.
Seems like a card you would have had by now.
I tried maybe, but didn't happen, and I was just like, meh.
Is your gallery not good enough to hold it in a Cardi super rare?
No, it would be a really good card for me. It would make a lot of sense too. I just don't have it.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
I figured with all the other Gala guys you had, he was in there, but
no, he should. Honestly, I tried to win him. I'm just not going to pay a lot for him. The biggest hole in my gallery is probably super rare challenger forward. But I'm literally trying to think of my best.
McGuire, Sean.
My best challenger super forward is Pavlidis, which is okay.
Yeah.
And then my second best challenger super forward is probably Onuachu. Big Paul's back. Big Paul's back. Love to see Big Paul.
Where's he? Turkey?
He's on Trabzonspor with Bakasetas.
Oh,
so it's helping Bakasetas because he just gets the
Visca, right? Isn't he there?
He gets the standard Big Paul gets his head on a cross stats, which is the same thing for Visca. Visca can now get some blunt balls into Big Paul, and Big Paul can get his head on it, and it doesn't matter if he scores or not because you get your 2 to 5 points, which is great. I mean, as a person that lumps the ball into Big Paul, you love it.
Right. Yeah, of course.
Like it's fantastic. I don't think I literally am curious if I have better challenger super forwards. I'm probably going to go look at this and I'm going to be like, oh, I have this guy that's way better, and I'm going to feel dumb.
Challenger Europe super rare. Let's see.
Yeah. Honestly, don't even know if anyone is better for
Uruguayan.
Me. Yeah. I mean, I just won that, so like me not like I don't know if he's
Sincere.
Better. What?
You've got Sincere.
Yeah, Simsier's
Bongo.
not.
Yeah, you've got Teo Bonganda. He's fine.
Yeah, Bonganda's okay. I mean, he hasn't been as good as I was hoping. He hasn't been like pro-S. He's been okay. I have some okay pieces, but like a card, he's obviously like a step above all of them.
Sure.
Like I think actually, I mean, my biggest hole is probably like America super forward. Like my best super forward in America is like Drew Easy, and like playing Drew Easy sucks.
That's a killer.
Yeah, you just watch the Austin games. You're just like, oh my god, because like this year he left the horseshoe out of his ass that he had last year, and that doesn't help because he's.
You should get that new guy from Miami that they got from somewhere in Europe. Messi.
Yeah. Now he has an auction actually right now. He had a super auction? Did you see that, Laird?
I did. Did it finish yet?
No, it is at 2 ETH. Actually, Kevin De Bruyne had a super. Did you see what the price went for the De Bruyne?
I did not, but I did see that it was going
2 ETH.
I think that's fine.
Yeah, I can't really like argue for or against.
I don't think you can argue that it's worth more than that. Like given his injury history and the fact that he's literally currently hurt.
You can, because like if the guys that he's like most comparable to are like way more expensive.
That's because they play.
Yeah, I get it, but I'm not going to argue for it or against it.
Sean, in his last 40 games, I'll say the last 40 game weeks, how many times do you think he's started?
In the last 40?
Yeah.
I don't know. How many has he missed this year injured?
I don't know. I don't know.
Probably
I'm just
like,
going to show you because it doesn't matter.
20.
He started 19 games and he's literally been out of the squad in 15 of the last.
Yeah, but most of it was like this beginning of the season he had issues. Like last year was okay.
He still has issues.
I'm not telling someone to go and like plow in on KDB. Like KDB has lots of clear and obvious issues. There's a reason why that card went for 2 ETH and not 5.
Right. Yeah, but I think if it went any more, we would be like that's an absurd overpay.
No, I mean it's still he's not that. Yeah, I mean I'm not going to argue for it because
Is this an immediate listing for 3 ETH? It is. Love that.
Yeah.
Just love it.
Yeah, I mean, it's the 1 out of 10. You never know.
One of my favorite things are people winning auctions and then immediately posting it for 50% more.
Yeah, I never really understand that. Like,
Did
that's
anybody
not.
Did
I don't
anybody
really.
actually want this card?
Huh?
Like, did anyone bid on it that actually would? Yeah, like
Yeah,
if these guys really wanted this card, they would have gotten it. They were just like, well, if it's super cheap, then I'll get it. And then even 2 ETH was not cheap enough.
Yeah, that's fair.
Brad Craig said, KDB finally got the surgery he should have had in the offseason. He'll be fine. I hope. Yeah. Ooh, Ryan Walter with the smart KDB guaranteed Threshy with an L15 of 0.
It's true. Yeah, Tuggy said, I'm sure Keith will be interested in making another stack. I think Keith already has bought a KDB or is looking at KDB. Matt asked me if I like Coman as a super. I think Coman's interesting because he obviously fits with Bayern, which obviously people are very interested in having Bayern options. And so he's very interesting. That said, like he has a lot of issues where he just goes in and out of the lineup, which is obviously not great. But he's also not that expensive, so like you can get him for a little over an ETH, which isn't unreasonable. And when he plays, like he's fine. Like I know obviously he has games where he's not going to get decisive, which you're going to live with. Like he's not going to get decisive every game. But if they play Botcham and you have him and you're guarantee he's going to play, like they win 7-0, like, there's a good shot he gets at least some involvement in that game.
Except they already played him.
Well, yeah, but there's other teams like Botcham in that league. That league kind of sucks. Like the bottom of that league is not great.
That is true.
Plus, I mean, he played for France, so like you get some possible international utility as well. It's definitely not a bad card to have.
Agreed. Speaking of Bayern and speaking of Tuggy saying we're 22 minutes in and we haven't even mentioned Kimmich yet. So the point of today's show I started thinking about this while listening to the latest Sorare Ramble, because they were debating whether it's better to have Kimmich or a bunch of guys who are not Kimmich, but having a bunch of them and playing matchups. And Haber was arguing initially that, of course, you should have Kimmich, which is easy to do when you own Kimmich, which he does. And the other guys were saying they prefer the kind of the more rounded, if you have a few guys, you play the matchups and whatever. But part of the conversation was you have to have the right guys to surround Kimmich with because you don't want to just waste him. And that kind of brought up the question of when do you know your gallery is good enough to have Kimmich? And if you're in a process of making it better, how long should you wait? Meaning like, all right, I got Kimmich. Now I got to build around him. Realistically, if it takes you 6 months to a year to surround him with the right cards, is it worth keeping him?
Yeah, typically, I mean, I feel like this is a similar conversation we've had with Gil before, but I mean, obviously Gil's price is not what Kimmich's price is. I don't even know what Kimmich's price is right now, so let me go check it out. I think that
the rare is like 1.3.
1.3, yeah, 1.3-ish.
1.4.
1.4. So the answer is typically for me is I want to fill stuff out first and then bring in that piece, because kind of having that piece and then just having nothing around it support it's just a waste. Whereas like if I fill stuff out first, I can get more productivity with stuff. But then people hate depth. I feel like a lot of people don't like depth on Sorare, but I think depth is one of the best, most important features on Sorare, because playing matchups is important, but also just getting random spots where you get lineup that you wouldn't have if you didn't have depth is pretty important. And Matt Schlow is saying that a Reynoso super rare is greater than a Kimmich rare. And so like I think something like that's valid as well. But I think for me personally, like I want to build out my options a bit, and then I want to bring in those big heavy hitters. That said, I don't want to wait like forever to bring in a heavy hitter like that. But like realistically, the answer to me is still like I don't want to bring in that heavy hitter for limiteds. Like we've talked about, like limits, I just don't think it matters as much. Like you just aren't going to realistically win. So like having that card isn't that great, right? And then like the rare division is similar to limited, where you're just not realistically going to win. Where I want to have that card is when I'm moving into the rare pro division, when I have other decent options around it, and then that's when I want to bring it in. So I think it definitely makes a little bit of sense to wait, because if you have Kimmich, or if you have 4 cards that are your like platoon to equal Kimmich, that could buy you 2 extra lineups that maybe you wouldn't have got otherwise. That can be a lot more beneficial than just having Kimmich. So for me, it's more of I want to fill everything else out first and then get to Kimmich eventually.
Yeah, I don't think that actually answered the question, though. Like, I think it's more, when do you know you're ready to have Kimmich? Like, you want to surround him with good players, but obviously, like, every good player that you buy is another, like, oh, well, you should have gotten 4 guys instead of that one. Like, at some point, we all want to have like the elite lineup. And is the answer just never of, I can turn these 4 guys into Kimmich, and I can turn these 4 guys into Berardi or whoever, and I can turn these 4 guys into Donnarumma? This is, again, my continued reason for, I don't know why I keep including him, but like, at what point are you just like, all right, now I can go and get the elite pieces, which at the beginning you are going to be playing with the other guys that you had before?
Well, I think I answered the question. The answer to the question is you get Kimmich, or you bring him in when you're in the rare pro division comfortably, and you want to put him in your life in your rare pro lineup. So, like,
people without Kimmich always want to put him in a lineup.
What?
Like, people who don't have him always want to have him.
Yeah, I mean, you're always going to want to have him, but like, the answer is when you're in rare pro comfortably with good lineups in the rare pro division is when you should have Kimmich in your line. Like, if you're running Kimmich in the rare division, I just don't even see really the point. Like, consistently, if you're always playing like Kimmich in rare division, I just don't really see the point. I'm not saying it's bad. I just like, you should be in the rare pro division.
Plus.
Oh, sorry, rare fat. My bad, rare fat.
I kept calling it rare pro on the game week preview.
I mean, come on.
It's going to take, that one's going to take me a while.
Okay, so here comes a rant. And you disagree with this, and I know you do, and I think you're wrong, but Division 1 through 5 made the most sense, because you just had to then explain what Division 1 through 5 was. Rare Pro, you have to do the same thing as Division 4. Like, when it was Division 3 and Division Rare Pro, you had to do the same thing. You had to explain what that meant, right? You had to explain Division 3 is 3 rares and up to 2 super rares. When it turned to Rare Pro, you still had to explain it is 3 rares up to 2 super rares. Now, with Rare Plus, it's literally the same as Rare Pro, except for a far, far more stupid name.
So the reason I disagree with you is because when you use the numerical divisions, you have to explain them all. A limited division does not need explanation.
That's fair. I'll give you that. I give you that.
That's all.
That's fair. So in that scenario, like, again, like, why Rare Plus? Like, that is just so stupid. Like, Rare XL.
I can't stand it. I really
so
can't
dumb.
stand it.
It's so stupid.
I don't
even understand all of it. Like, they just turn like they turn like competitions into the pro competitions, which I was what? And then, like, I don't even understand any of it. I just think it's all stupid. I don't know why. Like, I don't understand how they're spending time on it and they come up with, we're going to call it Rare Plus.
So, like, I have no suggestions of what to call it, but what's funny is that, where was this? Hold on. Sorare just says, at least we know they ain't getting rid of the pro divisions anytime soon. I almost feel the opposite, that they're like, we're going to make this sound so stupid that people are like, why? What is this even? Let's just get rid of this, and they'll be like, okay.
I don't really necessarily agree on either side. I don't think it has much impact. I would not be shocked if they got rid of Rare Pro at some point in life. And I would not be shocked if it doesn't leave. ever.
Yeah,
Both options, I could see it happening. I've told you before, there's a good high probability I would leave the platform if they got rid of the Rare Pro division. Because I just think that I just think they just completely progression on the platform sucks anyways.
But that's the best one. It's
the most
literal
logical progression point by a mile. The fact there isn't, and to be fair, I think there should be a limited plus, a super rare plus. I think there should be a limited plus, super rare plus that are all progression points. And that should have always been what the platform is. And the fact that they aren't is weird to me.
This from Mike Fasson. It's better than its full government name, which is Rare plus Super Rare. But that actually makes more sense.
Yes.
So what I didn't like previously is the unique division was basically Super Rare plus.
Yes, agreed.
And now it's like Super Rare mostly plus because you can only play, right? Can you only play one now?
No, you
or
can.
Did they not actually change that yet?
Well, I don't think they've changed. I think I can still play 2.
Right.
I think I can still play 2, but
it's not September yet. Oh wait.
Yeah, I think I was supposed to only be able to play 3, but I think I can, or I think I had to play 4, but I think I can still play 3. But I'm not positive because I don't typically try to enter it with 3 that often. Most of, I don't even know if I've tried to enter it with 3 anytime in the recent past. So they could have changed it. I was talking to Gator Guy yesterday. So Gator Guy bought his Messi. Did you see that?
I did. Hold on. Unique division is still minimum of 3.
Yeah, but they said at some point.
They said in September.
Okay.
I'm almost certain it was September. It is now October 16th and nothing has changed.
So this goes into a similar discussion point. So Gator Guy is super pumped about getting his Messi yesterday. So he messages me.
Oh, yeah, he is.
And he's like, yeah, I'm going to have it at 15% by the start of next season. So I message him. I'm like, this screams like someone who has no idea what the rules are. He's like, I'm going to buy collections. I'm like, that's not what I'm talking about. He's like, what are you talking about? I'm like, they said at some point that you would lose the bonus week 1 of the season. He's like, I don't remember that. I'm like, that hence me saying that it sounds like you don't have a clue what the rules are. One sec. And I said, I'm like, however, for all I know, they backtracked on this and they had got rid of that dumbass stuff and changed it back to what the stupid shit is now instead of that, which actually made sense to me. And that benefited you more for buying early season cards. So did they backtrack on that?
Yes.
Yeah. So, but I mean, clearly, he still had no idea that was a rule because he had no idea anyway. So,
well, he was mistakenly correct.
Correct. He was, because he had no idea what was going on and what the rules were. He was right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is fine. And I said, I'm like, they could have backtracked. And I after I talked about it, I was like, yeah, there's a good shot they backtracked. But either way, they did. They just screamed of someone who had no idea what the rules were.
Not only did they backtrack it, they also never instituted the XP changes. The change in level.
Yeah, they never got to it.
They never adjusted.
They never got to it. And I still think that made the most sense. That made the most logical sense because then it was always obvious when it would change. And also it benefited you from having early season cards because then you got the most bonus out of them as long as possible. So you buying the 1 made more sense than you buying the 50 because you got that extra season XP for a lot longer because you bought it way earlier in the year.
Yeah, but the new rules, you did not earn it as fast, I think, at the beginning.
Who knows?
I don't know because I bought a card recently and I was like, oh, the XP should be it should have been on level 7. And it was like, oh, they haven't changed it. So it was still on level 9 or something.
Yeah, Germ said they put the entire roadmap on hold because of the fitness boost, which I don't know why you need to put everything else on hold.
Yeah, I like the clarification in January. What?
Oh my God. It breaks my mind sometimes.
It did hurt a little bit.
My brain gets I'm so glad I just don't have time to pay attention to that type of stuff at the moment as frequently.
Yeah. Back to the Kimmich Rare Pro Plus. Damn it. I will get there. One day I will get there.
It took us a while to get to Rare Pro. We got there eventually. We mostly call it Rare Pro for a while. It took us a couple months to get past the D2.
It took you much longer than me.
Yeah, because I still think that's the best.
Because you still call it D3. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I still think it's the best way to do it, but that's also because like the new way just doesn't make sense. Yeah, the progression bar. Still waiting on that.
Yep. Yeah, maybe we'll find out about that in January. Anyway, so do you think that if you have what you think is a competitive lineup in Rare Plus, and you're like, should I get Kimmich or should I make my super rares better? Which way do you go?
Typically, whatever the most economically friendly option is, if that makes sense.
Well, it's like, would you rather spend 1.3 ETH on Kimmich, or I don't even know what a 1.3 ETH gets you super rare wise.
I mean, Reynoso was probably a pretty good name because he's probably cheaper than that. But like,
I don't want to talk about America, Asia are dead now.
I still think 1.3 is probably an equivalent to like that type of a card in Challenger, right? Like, I mean, we talked about Bergwijn earlier. Like, he's probably I think he's sold for like 1 point something the other day.
So would you rather a Bergwijn super rare or Kimmich rare?
Like I said, it depends. It depends what is economically the most logical at that time. Like, what makes the most sense for you. You probably would put a tiebreaker on rares because at that time, like, you will be able to use rares in more lineups because at that time you're not really playing the super rare division in theory. So like having excess rares for you there is probably better than having excess super rares.
Okay, that's fair.
If that makes sense.
Excess rares to just play in the rare division.
Yeah, but I'm saying, like, if you're playing Kimmich in the rare division 100% of weeks, like you just shouldn't have the card, in my opinion. Would you agree with that? If you had a Kimmich rare and it's in All-Star rare or Champion rare every single week, do you think it makes any sense to have the card? And excluding like I like Bayern and want to watch Bayern or any of that stuff.
Yeah, like, no. I was more thinking like if you have it, I feel like it might not be that beneficial to sell it for 2 super rares that are like okay to then not win.
I'm not even saying sell it for 2 super rares. Like, you could just buy excess rares. Like someone mentioned earlier, and I know it's your boy, but like Jonas Hoffman, you could buy like 4 Jonas Hoffmans for the price of 1 Kimmich. Like 4 Jonas Hoffmans goes a lot further for you at that time than 1 Kimmich.
Not for a single lineup, it doesn't.
It's not about one single lineup though. It's about multitude of lineups. Like, you getting that additional ability. I'm not saying just buy Hoffman either. Like, buy a Hoffman and then buy like a Virgil van Dijk and then buy I don't know, I would say Victor Boniface because he's like 2 ETH. He's probably more than everyone on the platform at this point.
So Daniel Cooper brought this point up, which I have like a rant about this that I maybe will go into. He said, if you're thinking about buying Kimmich, I feel like you should have strong enough depth to buy Reynoso or Gil really cheap now and wait on them until February to use them. So one of the things that they were talking about on Sorare Ramble, actually, that might have been a different conversation now that I think about it. But the amount of Sorare advice that's out there of you should buy this card, and when it's like it'll be great in 5 months, 3 months, 4 months. Nobody wants to wait that long. Nobody wants to buy cards and wait 3 months to use them. Like, why are we telling people to do this?
Because it makes sense.
But why? Sean, are you really gonna wait 3 months if you have smaller, like, not your gallery, you can buy cards that wait 3 months. Why would anybody buy a card and wait 3 months to use it? Like an elite card.
Because it makes. I mean, to be fair, we've already talked about it. I think that the time to buy MLS cards was a month and a half ago. I think the time to buy like Asia and America was like a month and a half ago when you still got like 30% of the season, because like that was their lowest. Like, when do you think the lowest point on a Carlos Gil was rare? When do you think the lowest Carlos Gil rare sold was?
I don't even look, but I don't know.
Just guess. Like, when do you think the date of the lowest Carlos Gil rare sold in the last like 6 months?
2 weeks ago.
August 22nd. It sold for like 20%, 25% less than what it sold for 4 days ago.
So
like
305.
If you wanted a Carlos Gil rare, you should have bought Carlos Gil rare 2 months ago, and you could have got 2 months of usage out of it for 30% cheaper than what it's going for now. So like I think that typically, and we see this with all of them, the best time to buy a card for additional seasons or future seasons is typically like 2 months before the end of the season. So if you want to buy American Asia cards, you should have bought them like late August, early September, in my opinion. Like now you're getting into the point where like, should you buy the cards? You can. I mean, Reynoso is like 0.183, which is the cheapest he's been. But like even like a couple months ago, he was 0.168. He was cheaper in this. So like you could have bought Reynoso. Yeah, you could have bought Reynoso July, August, and got the same price and then got to use him for 2 months.
He was like trapped in Argentina here.
I don't think he was. I think he was back. So look, when I bought his unique, because that was the day where he got unleashed. Click on uniques and just see when I bought it. We were on a trip. When were we on a trip?
Yeah, it was the Dallas trip.
Yeah, when were we in Dallas? I think we were in Dallas way before the end of July.
On or around May 6th.
Yeah. So May 6th was the day that he left Argentina.
So this is the day, basically, that everybody decided.
Yeah, so like don't tell me he was in Argentina in July.
All right, that's fair. That's fair.
So
just to go back, hold on. Because Brad said it makes more sense to buy guys now and sit and play them in months. It was more of a like new user thing that people were like, oh, it's so expensive to play this game. You have to buy a goalie. And it was like, no, just buy like 4 goalies and wait for one to come good. It was like, all right, well, now you own these cards. You can't play. And this is the advice we're telling people to like play this really fun game. You can't actually play it yet.
Yeah, I mean, I understand where you're coming from with that. Like you want people to play. Surf is saying Gil was coming off his 4 lowest scores in August. I will say people and their handling of Carlos Gil is like some of the dumbest shit on Sorare.
I love watching it when he goes like it was right here, like a few games without decisive. And
oh my God, dude averaged 25 AA a game, but didn't get a decisive. He sucks. I'm going to sell him. All right, cool. I mean, yeah, the guy that averages like a decisive 2 out of 3 games is never going to get a decisive again. And then he goes and rips decisives 4 games in a row. Oh my God, Carlos Gil is the best midfielder in the MLS. Yada yada yada. No, it's like because it's the same thing. We have seen this Carlos Gil move like 6 times, where like the dude just doesn't have a decisive for 3 games and 4 games, and he like averages 20 AA. And everyone's just like, well, dude just hasn't got decisive. He just sucks. He's dead. And I just sit there and I'm like, that's the dumbest shit I've heard ever. Yeah, actually, did you see I believe he had his best statistical year this year, Laird.
I love how angry you get when others besmirch Carlos Gil.
Well, I don't mind if it wasn't. No, actually, that's not fair, Laird. You enjoy how I get annoyed when people say dumb shit, because that's more like what this is. So I even besmirching
whatever you want to call it.
Like I don't get mad when Andy Black besmirches Gil, because it makes me feel really happy that Andy Black doesn't have him in his gallery and never will. So knowing it holds Andy Black down due to his stubbornness, that makes me happy. But I hate stupidity, and when I hear stupidity, it annoys me. And there's some major stupidity that goes out there with Carlos Gil. And it's not just Carlos Gil. It's like literally any player that doesn't get decisive for a couple games and puts up like 65. Oh, that guy sucks. He only put up 65 the last 3 games with no decisives.
No, I think, yeah, like I said, I love it.
Yeah.
Would you rather a Guarassi super rare or a Kimmich rare? That's fun. The player who runs hotter than the sun or Kimmich rare?
Oh my God, is he on fire?
It's wild.
Probably a Kimmich rare. Like this is the card we look at and you're like, well, based on his 0-100s ever in his career before this, I don't think that that's going to be consistent. But I mean, dude's been unbelievable. So I mean, that's a ridiculous loss.
It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy.
Mike Basson's asking, did I miss the trash talk of Gald when he hit low scores recently? So actually, hilarious story about Gald. Keith, who named himself Gald Guy because he's a moron, he sold Gald because this stretch of games was supposed to be really, really hard for him when he just ripped hundreds up because he was away or something and just
That's what it was. Eight was that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 straight road games.
Yeah, Keith. So Keith sold him like before that because it was a very hard stretch where dude just still ripping hundreds.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's the same thing. Like this guy, like if you move his couple yellow scores together, people would be like, Gald's broken, he's done, I'm out. Like no interest in Gald. It's like, yep, definitely wasn't anything.
Surface said he thinks.
I know you. Yeah, Sam. I know you weren't besmirching Gil.
No, but he's saying he thinks MLS is lowest right now. Not in August.
I don't think so. I don't think on everyone. Like Reynoso wasn't like, yeah, Gald was low. Yeah, Gald's gone up. And Gald's had some bad games, and Gald's price has gone up since August. Yeah, so like everyone's price has gone up for the most part. Or at least remain stable at the minimum.
Yeah, it's stable.
Germ saying MLS lows will be Sunday. No, I think it was August. I think it was the middle of August. Was like the effective lowest point. I mean, do you have your MLS graph?
I have it. Hold on. I wanted to. This whole like whereas he was good in starts, like he literally never had 100.
Yeah,
until
dude was okay. He was fine, but he was never like consistently ripping hundreds with like the issue is like this is the difference. Look at his AA in the last three 32, 32, 22, 18, 21. His AA over this stretch was 8.5. Like it's just not realistic that he maintains this. Even with like it's
literally 21.5 now. It's all attacking stats too. It's just shots on target.
Which is good. Like, don't get me wrong, it's been great, but I mean, yeah. Do you have your graph for MLS?
Mike Baskin was thinking maybe it was around Leagues Cup. Let me see. I think it was all of America. I don't think it was just MLS.
Yeah, that's fine. Well, I guess that makes it a little bit more tricky because
we could easily make one. Let's see.
I mean, put like I don't know the best players in MLS on it. Like, so you're putting like Lucho Costa, Reynoso, Gald.
I have the 2022 MLS All Stars, which has most of the guys we want.
Yeah, some of them are terrible though.
Except Tati
you just can't put Messi on the list because I don't like Messi was always going to go down eventually, to some extent.
Because he doesn't count. He's not that good.
He's just kind of a weird case.
Make one.
Like quickly. He's kind of like a weird case in my opinion.
MLS guys with L15s of, let's see, 50, 60? Is that enough?
60. Yeah, sure.
Sorry, I'm doing this without everybody looking at it. All right. Oh, wait, I didn't do MLS.
God, Laird.
Soccer.
Where'd it go?
Oh, Pirlo. Sweet. All right. Almada, Lucho, Wagner, Gil, Herrera, Gald, Cucho. This is perfect.
Yeah.
Puig, Ferreira. Brugman's been hurt, right?
He's been hurt. Boanga,
Halong, Palacios. Why not?
Yeah.
Zim.
I would
Hollington.
You can add him. It's whatever.
I'm not putting him on. Anyway. Whoops. Prices.
Yeah, so middle of August.
Yep. And a little up.
Yeah.
Maybe I think it'll be down.
Yeah, I think it'll probably go up a little bit from here, and we'll probably see it move up a smidge. But I mean, did anyone just tank off? Yeah. So that's the problem, right? Remove Almada from the list. Can you remove Almada? Because Almada is absolutely tanked.
How come? Because they just assume he's leaving?
They assume he's leaving. So yeah, let's remove Almada from this list, it'll probably be even more pronounced.
Poor Thiago.
Yeah. No, not really.
Still, it's the same.
Yeah, it's still middle of August. Yeah, so like middle of August was the low point.
Fiat-wise, it's almost the same. Like the low got here was at 304, and we're at 310 now.
Yeah, so like that was probably the lowest ish point.
Yeah.
Puig got hurt too. Puig has missed a while, last like bit.
That's a fairly recent dip, though.
It is. Yeah.
And then Wagner, he's actually
he's
up.
he's
He's up from way up from August.
Yeah, he's just because August the day after the window closed, he went up, and he'll probably tank off because the windows will be open again.
Right. Germ said, so the mid-season low would have been the extended break for Leagues Cup elimination, along with Europe starting back up. Yeah.
It's just, but again, like you still had 2+ months of games from these leagues. So like I think the same thing could be said for Europe. Like if you want to buy Europe, I think buying guys in like March is probably when you want to buy them because you get some usage out of them, and then they'll probably go down a little bit, or they'll probably be like pretty stable. Like they just don't really go down, right? Like they just kind of are stable or go up a little bit. Whereas like we look at Europe, like go look at Kimmich. Kimmich's probably gone down quite a bit since the season started. Wagner's been linked to Brighton, apparently. Yeah, so Kimmich's gone down a bit.
He's recovered from August.
Yeah, he's recovered from August. So maybe there's just a dip in the platform a little bit in August. Yeah, so Germ saying that was like a 2 to 3 week idle time, whereas the off season will be 3 months and change. Yeah, but so like that's a good time to buy though, because like the idle time was incredibly short, and then you were getting them back, and then you would have a lengthy stretch of them playing. Like you would get got like 10 to 15 games out of those players, which is a pretty substantial amount. Like that's like a third of the season. Like you could have got a third of the season without having to worry about them dropping off.
Yep.
And then in theory, they should go up from here till new season cards come out. Maybe they'll dip a little bit, but like I would say January, February, they're going to start going up until new season cards come out.
They should, whether they do or not. Who knows?
Yeah, who knows? I mean,
they didn't last year, but everything went down. So
yeah,
I just dropped the link to this watch list in the chat if anybody cares.
Yeah. And that's always going to be an issue too with watch lists or anything, because like part of the watch list, you just can't factor in Almada possibly leaving. Like that just isn't factored in the watch list per se with the prices. Like you can't control dips based on people leaving, and because literally everyone could leave, and the fact that Saudi Arabia just hovers over everybody's head makes things a lot more difficult.
I don't know. I feel like this price graph is where did we just took Almada off?
Yeah.
Like I feel like it's the transfer is built in.
Yeah, but the transfer is built in. It doesn't mean like that's like it's a difference between like Almada's transfer being built in, and then like Almada, like because you see like July and August he dipped when people were worried he was going to leave. The end of the transfer window he started going back up, and then he's tanked off again because people are worried he's going to leave again.
Right. Yeah, but like I think this is the transfer graph right here.
Brad asked, is Almada good enough that him leaving might help him? Yeah, him leaving definitely could help him because he could go somewhere legit in Europe. Like some of the rumors with Almada were really favorable.
He could go to plenty of terrible spots though.
Yeah. There's his range is massive. His range is really literal massive. Like Benfica or like death. So like you could get a god tier move, or you could get like Celta Vigo.
Yeah.
And like that's obviously not good.
David Weiss wants to know your top 3 U23 mids for this season.
This season?
Not going to be Almada.
I mean, Matt O'Reilly.
Jude and everyone else, isn't it? You think Matt O'Reilly's better than Jude?
Probably. I don't know. Let me go look. I haven't thought about this in a while, so let me go look. U23 mids for this season. I mean, Jude's more stable, so like I would take Jude. But if I'm talking purely points the rest of the season, you can't really buy an American option or an Asia option.
But if you knew that Almada and Puig stayed, would you rather buy them than one of the other guys you're thinking of?
Puig ages out, so he's a bit more tricky.
Well, not until July.
Yeah, but like that matters because you only get him for a little bit. I mean, the answer is definitely Jude.
Yeah,
Jude's the most safest. Probably Jude, O'Reilly, and Saka. Maybe Ugarte. Ugarte has been really good. He's just really consistent. The issue with him is he lacks spikes, which is an issue.
He's so consistent, but
yeah, he's so consistently good. But like you got to remove his games with pure. So if you get his PSG starts, like he's really good, but he does have difficulties hitting the upside. But he did hit it once without AA or without a decisive. But like I don't know if I would want him. Like the issue with Ugarte is like, are you plugging him in your like rare pro line every week, and you probably don't want to? I would say.
I think he's
the issue with
fine,
Pachu is he's hurt, so it's a little bit tricky, and he hasn't been as good at Benfica as you would hope. So
no, he hasn't.
I don't think that I would say him.
He was like the slam dunk pick.
He was, and he's not been as good. He's been okay, but then he got injured, which is a bit tricky. So yeah, I would probably say Jude, Saka, and Matt O'Reilly.
No Leone? Our friend Harry Trades is disappointed.
Maybe.
He's been incredible.
Maybe. I mean, you could definitely say him for sure. The issue is a little bit less. He's got some certainty issues, right?
What do you mean?
You still are going to have some concerns about him just due to the lack of long-term proof of what he can do and the fact that he ages out like it is. But yeah, I mean, no issues with Leone. He's been very good.
How much O'Reilly have?
Yeah, something's bugged with O'Reilly once you put the
apostrophe. Yeah.
But like, look at O'Reilly. I mean, O'Reilly's score has been really good.
He also might play for Denmark this week.
He might. He should actually.
Could is as far as I'm willing to go.
Yeah,
Saka. Not that we need to like already think of guys.
No, I mean that 5 is probably that 4 or 5 is probably the only possible names you could say. I will say having 0 of them makes me feel great.
Yeah.
Right. I have a lot of forwards now though, so I'm good on that.
There's so many forwards.
I don't know who else you could even like. There's no one else you could even say really. Like no one else is near where those guys are doing for the most part.
Verts maybe.
I don't know. With no sets, he's lost a lot of luster with Hoffman there.
Yeah.
Like Musiala and his playing time is questionable.
Yep.
Yeah. So I mean, it's really like that group, and that's pretty much it. O'Reilly had a super sell today for.
So like, if this is it, how is Ugarte not completely playable in Rare Plus?
No, he is. O'Reilly has a super ending later today. He's up to 1.8. Makes me feel great about not getting a super when I tried for like 1 ETH before. Go me.
Do you rather have Matt O'Reilly or Kevin De Bruyne? Super rare.
Probably O'Reilly because I just have more holes there right now. But I don't. O'Reilly very likely just dies after this year.
Sure.
But I mean, De Bruyne is already dead, so like.
But he is more likely to be that way than like Bellingham's not going to. Saka's already there.
Yeah, I mean,
he's already at a level where
Jude is
the transfer death you don't want.
Yeah, Jude is just so far and above all these other names. Like, because like go look at Saka and like look at
He's the best player on the platform right now.
Jude. I'm not going to go that far, but Jude. I mean, go look at Jude. Go look at Jude scores quick, and go look at Saka's scores quick. And we're just going to like look at the issue between them because I think they're probably 1 and 2, 1 and 3. So like, here's the issue with Saka, right? I'm not saying any of it's bad because it's very good, but like, you don't have those hundreds that Jude is ripping. Especially like, just sort that from Real Madrid for Jude. You're not getting that from anyone else. And Laird, you are right. Like, this is the best player on the platform. Right?
Yeah, it's not even close.
It is. I'm not convinced he can keep this level going forever.
You mean he can't get hundreds 40% of the time?
Yeah, I don't think that's realistic. But so like, it's really, but like, I mean,
watch out on that ledge there, Sean.
He's very freaking good. So I have no argument how good Jude is. But like, so you go back to Saka. Like, let's go back to Saka. And like, you look at this and you're like, this is pretty good. But it's also, you look at, so go look at that AA. So 12. Now go back and look at Jude's. 23. Big difference.
Well, hold on. Let me like Saka's is over like 50 games.
Yeah, but
here 14 in his
Saka's been in the same situation for a while.
Sure.
So it's like, Jude's great. Like, Jude's been absolutely fantastic. I feel horrendous that I don't have a Jude. Maybe I'll go buy one because I should have one realistically. I would like to win one. But yeah, I mean, I really would like a Jude super rare, but I just don't really think that's a realistic option at this time. But yeah, I mean, Jude's been great.
Yeah.
Surface just said, look at Jude's EPL only scores, and they're much better. The issue is with that, and that's very, very realistic. Just searching for EPL competitions.
Oh.
No, it's pretty much the same.
It's the same. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, but so here's the issue, right? Tug, I will tell you this. I get at least 1 to 2 tweets a week from people that just say that I'm right and spend more money is the correct answer. Have you noticed that, Laird? Because you're tagging them a lot of the time.
No.
Yeah. We've got a liar on our hands, guys. And it's a...
I don't think anybody doubts you that spending more money is the right decision. It's that not everybody has more money. That's the problem.
You can figure it out, Laird.
Right. I think.
But yeah, so Saka's a good player.
Understanding of the argument.
I just like Saka's not as exciting as what Jude is. What Jude is doing is more exciting than what Saka's doing. That said, we have a lot longer of a track record with Saka producing at that level than we do with Jude. But again, Jude's younger. Jude's at a better team. So it all makes sense.
Would you take O'Reilly over either of them?
What?
Would you take O'Reilly over either of them? Like Jude's rare is a full ETH more than O'Reilly.
Pure points wise, I'd rather have O'Reilly. Then not Jude, then Saka. I'd rather have O'Reilly over Saka.
I actually think that's a bad choice also. You get so much more utility out of Saka when he's
so that is part of the equation, which is valid. That is valid. You're not wrong. Because so you might be right. Like, I maybe would prefer Saka because a lot of the usage of players is midweeks. Like, getting those midweeks is massive. And then getting international ability is helpful as well, especially in the situations where there's just not very many starting goalies and you can get some cards realistically easily in those situations. I actually got to see if all right, Laird, do you think Portugal is going to run like normal players, or is this game going to be a complete dumpster?
I already saw the lineup.
My guess is it's going to be a dumpster fire. Is it going to be?
No, it's everyone good. They didn't even rotate at all. It was great. Or they did rotate. João Felix is in.
Perfect. You know what's fantastic about this, Laird? I wanted 2 guys to play in this game.
Me too.
To start, João Felix and Gonzalo Inacio.
Oh, Inacio.
They're both starting.
I needed João Felix and
I have 2 messages. I have 2 messages on Discord right now, and Haber was sitting there the other day. He's like, I need them to start because I need Dalot to have a good game. I'm like, I have no idea what they're going to do. And so I guarantee one of these 2 messages is from Haber's being happy that Dalot's starting. Message from Haber. Dalot starting, all capital letters.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. That actually gives me some good lineups this week. And my lineups were horrendous without this. My U23 rare lineup.
We played them because of the double. It's easy. Hold on. Before this, the way I was going to go back to this O'Reilly, Saka, Bellingham, I feel like Bellingham and Saka are two cards where you would be like, the rest of your lineup is not good enough for these cards, but you would never say that about O'Reilly.
That's fair. I mean, Jude's such an unreal card. So yeah, Laird, I gotta fire U23 rare lineup this week.
Look at you playing the rare division.
Well, I always play it, and I sometimes win it, but I don't take it seriously. But I have Mamardashvili, Chouameni, and Doku, who averaged like 78 points. And then I have Inacio and Joao Felix in it. So
What-
hopefully that can rip me off some monsters.
What's your Chouameni opinion?
I think he's fine. I don't think he's good. The issue is he aged out from a U23 perspective, and like the issue is he just like, I don't know. He's been really fine. Again, he's a guy that struggles with decisives.
So yeah, this is the Chouameni price graph.
Yeah, he struggles.
We talked about Chouameni on, where was it? Looking Up, and like his scores are about as great as you can get.
Yeah.
Without decisives.
Yeah.
But it kind of goes back to the whole, if there are not that many good U23 players,
you still can't put up like 55. Like 55, 60 is just not quite cutting it. Like that.
I mean, he's got enough in the 70s that
I don't know. I just don't think that quite cuts it. It's like an okay player. Like if you get 70, that's okay. But so here's the funny thing is what we're talking about. His 3 games. So he has 6 decisives in the last year, one of which he put with a negative decisive. So he realistically only has 5. The 5 games he has a decisive, he has 88, 90, 99, 100, and 100. So like when you do get that decisive, it does peak you to like 100, which does make him better.
Yeah, I struggle to see why in U23 now it's not good enough. Like how many guys realistically are better than him?
I don't know, 5 to 10.
10? You think there are 10?
I said 5 to 10.
Yeah, I think it's 5. It might not even be 5.
You're talking about Chouameni?
Yeah.
All right, let's sort it by
L5.
Give me an L40 sort here, Laird.
Like I would think immediately it's Bellingham. I mean, we just named 3 of them, like Bellingham, Saka, and O'Reilly. Like, do you take Ugarte over Chouameni?
Probably. I think he's a better version of Chouameni, but it's close. Like those two are probably like the same player.
Okay.
Right? So you got Jude, Saka,
O'Reilly, and Ugarte.
O'Reilly, Ugarte, Leone. Like, are you taking Leone? I mean, Laird, you're the one that just sold Leone. And then Chouameni's fine. Like, you could play him there.
That's sort of my point. Like, it felt like you would be like, yeah, they're tons better. And it's like, is Enzo really better? Is Szoboszlai really better?
You also got to count forwards and stuff, too, or are you only counting mids?
I was just looking at mids, yeah.
Oh, mids, you're probably looking at 5. Like 5 mids.
I mean, forward-wise, realistically, it's Vinicius, Haaland, and who else?
You better say the next name you should be saying.
It's not Doku. He's not starting enough anymore.
Laird. Okay, we're gonna have an argument here. Okay, Doku, if he starts consistently.
Stop it. If he starts.
I'm out. No.
Oh, I know when he's going to start.
Okay. Also, Kimmich.
Yes, for the 3 rares that exist, for sure.
I mean, there's more than 3 rares. I'm sure I have a super rare already.
I don't know.
We're talking the forward Kimmich, the midfield Kimmich.
Yeah,
we don't know enough about.
7 rares and 2 super rares.
It's fine. Anyways, I'm gonna go back to this. We're gonna have a fight.
This comment from Brad is exactly the same for Doku. Take out Foden and put in Doku's gold when you feel confident in the start.
Doku is way better than Foden. Doku is way better than Foden when he starts. Yeah. So here's the issue, Laird. You're just hating on a card that oh, no, David just brings up Santiago Jimenez as a U23. No. Let's go look at Santiago Jimenez. And, like, I can give you more than 3 for sure on Santiago Jimenez. For sure.
Like, I need the explanation. Sure. So Doku is a perfect card of Doku is a perfect example of a card that not everybody should have if they're playing U23.
I agree with that. Here's the thing with Doku. And I think you may agree with this part. If Doku starts consistently, which is not outside the realm of possibility, would you agree with that?
The realm, sure. If it's
No,
more
like, I
than
mean, like,
0%, then yes. Sure.
Doku's been starting pretty consistently at City, Laird, like a decent amount of games.
Yeah, I mean, you're ignoring that, like, they had 3 guys who were hurt that are now back.
Doku's
Like, that's why he was.
upside-
This is Man City. Here he is.
Okay. Yes, Doku's upside and long-term potential is massive. It's arguably the biggest on the platform because of his style. His style is like perfect Sorare card style. Like, that's what his style is.
Yeah, I think you're fundamentally just making things up is the problem. Like, there's too many ifs and there's too many ifs.
Okay, that's fine. I'm not going to say like you should take Doku in that scenario, but like Doku is like one of the possible, like a lot of people should, I would also argue a lot of people should have Doku that don't have Doku. If you have a bigger gallery, I think you should
Yes, of course. Sure.
Fripp, okay, so Fripp actually brings up a good point. If Doku is on, he's like, if he's not on sets, he's not perfect. Doku's one of the very, very, very few cards that not being on sets, he could still be an elite level card. He's probably one of like 3 cards on the platform that you could say that about. Because of what he does, he just wins so many freaking duels. He can win like so many duels in a game. So Brand asked who is better than Jimenez. So I'm gonna say it like this, and we'll see what Laird says. What's Jimenez's price? This is what I'm gonna say about Jimenez.
Half an ETH, a little or more.
This is a card that would be in my gallery 0% of the time under any circumstances. It would be out of my gallery so fast.
Would you rather, if you had to choose one and you had to keep it, would you rather keep Jimenez or Boniface?
Boniface.
Ooh, that was quick too.
Not a question. I wouldn't. He was another card that I would not have.
Yeah, you don't want either of them.
None. Like, here's the issue with Jimenez. He is Gonzalo Ramos, except for worse. And Gonzalo Ramos is a card I never would have had in my gallery ever. Like, this is a guy with he is like a shit version of Holland that has no good like landing spots, like realistically. He's just a card that I would not want in my gallery. Like, I could probably name 30 to 40 forwards I would rather have than this card. But like, some of them might not start. I would just rather have them than have this card. Like, go to U23 forwards, Laird. Like, I would literally want like everyone on this list instead of him. Yeah, Mike Baston calls him Yaremchuk Jr. It's an honestly good explanation of what Jimenez is. Like, if you get Jimenez as a super rare and can play him in a Division 2, it's all right because he can get you like your 70 points and that's fine in like a super rare division. But like, you literally need the dude to put up 50 decisives a year, and that's just like not many people are going to put up 50 decisives a year. That's asking a lot. He's not U23 De Jong because De Jong's better. De Jong.
I was going to say he's not that good.
He's not that good. He's like dumpster De Jong. He's like dumpster U23 De Jong. And like it does, like it. I don't know. I've seen people talk Jimenez up so much. I'm just like, I don't get it. Because like but like people talk up Ramos so much, and you're just like, that's not a card I want. Because like, it just doesn't matter. You're just not gonna score that much.
Right.
You're just never gonna score that much. And it doesn't matter. Like, even if he goes to like, the only time a player like that can have that type of upside is if he goes to Bayern or PSG and bags 40 a year. That's what you need.
Yeah.
And he's not going to do that. And even now, like, you put him in, he's at Feyenoord, which is literally as good of a spot as you could realistically have. And he just puts up like 65 to 75. And you're just like, cool, which is fine. It's not bad, but it's just not good. Mike Aston says he thinks that Ueda is going to prove to be better than Jimenez if he gets the chance. I'm not going to argue that because I don't like Jimenez regardless of all the other shit that we're just talking about right now. But yeah, Jimenez is a card I would, if I want a Boniface, I can't say that I would sell Boniface the second I want it. And you know why, Larry? Because I literally have a full stack except for a forward on that team. But I can't imagine I would keep a Boniface at that price. So if I want a Boniface, it would probably be listed within 5 seconds.
That's one of the more wild prices. It was really funny when you messaged me recently and you were like, do you know how much he is? And I was like, yes, I do. And you were like, there's no way he's this expensive.
Yeah like, and Jimenez is shit Boniface.
In fairness, he's much cheaper.
Yeah, he is, but he's like shit Boniface. He's like poor man's Boniface. And I wouldn't want either of those guys.
Yeah, I don't know.
Like, it's just not a card I would want. Like, I think so. I'm going to go back to Doku quick. If you have a reasonable sized guy, Surface, are you still here?
If Surface should certainly have one. He should have
Surface is still here. Surface, that should be like the #1 card he should go buy right now. Is Doku?
He doesn't have one.
I don't know. Surface, do you have a Doku?
I would assume.
Card?
Honestly, I would assume that he's had one for 5 years and he bought it for $3.
It's 100% possible. I don't know if Surface has a Doku. If you do not have a Doku, that should be the next card you buy immediately. Like there's Surface, you should go. That should be a card in your gallery, 100%. Like someone with a gallery like Surface should have Doku. I think I told Zarky Poo. Zarky Poo was talking to me. Zarky, if you're here, I haven't seen you pop into chat yet. But like if you don't have a Doku and you have like a 200 ETH gallery, you're doing something wrong. And like I get not having it because like I understand why people don't have it, but like this guy has the potential to be just like a top 5 card on the platform, and he's like 20. Just because the way he plays.
I just struggle to see anyone on that team other than Erling Haaland in the attack that starts as consistently enough to. I guess Alvarez now with De Bruyne hurt.
You're talking about now. I'm talking like you have Doku's.
But it's actually not now though. It's like Pep's entire career there makes you think like, when do you see any winger in that club start consistently?
I'm gonna say this. You have a pretty good idea when Doku's gonna start. I've been able to play Doku pretty consistently to start this season and feel pretty good when he's gonna start. And yeah, there's been injuries, but there's always injuries. Like they're not that deep.
So that's the craziest thing is that the biggest beneficiary of Man City injuries this season is Jeremy Doku, who is the most injured player in the history of this platform. And yet we're like, as long as he stays fit and as long as either one of like Grealish and Foden are out, like we know he starts. Like there are 17 ifs that happen with Doku that I really struggle to see a situation where he starts 35 games in a season and he is the best player on the platform.
It doesn't necessarily matter. If you have a big enough gallery, it doesn't matter. If you have a big enough gallery and you know when he's going to start, it's like an elite level card.
Again, 2 ifs right there.
It does.
If you have a big enough gallery, if you know when he's going to start.
But that's what we're talking about. We're talking about it from that big enough gallery. We're talking about it from Surface and Zarky Poos.
Service said Rodrigo is the biggest beneficiaries of injuries. His usage rate has just skyrockets and he's taking way more shots. Like he's always going to play though.
Yeah.
Like we know he's always going to play.
Yeah. Brad also brings up a good point with Doku. Doku can play either side.
So can Foden and Grealish.
I get it, Laird, but there's not that many options.
Well, right now, you're right. You're right about that.
If you have a big enough gallery, which like someone like Surface does, and Doku starts 30% of the time, and you know when those 30 are going to be, it's a great card to have. And it's a great card to have anyways, because just having it long term is a good card. David said, doesn't seem Kimmich will be able to replicate last season. Doesn't matter. I guess he doesn't need to replicate last season if he's a forward card. His forward card's still really good. Because like you know what's
going to happen? Kimmich is going to go to Man City.
Kimmich is probably going to go somewhere, and it's like Kimmich is going to take an upgraded role somewhere probably. And him as a forward card is really freaking good. His forward card is really good. Like his forward card is just a really strong card.
Well, it can be.
It can be. Like, but that's the thing. Like, if you get like matchups that are favorable, like Kimmich is just really like his forward card. I think was like 4 points better than his midfield card. His midfield card, like I just don't. Yeah, 2 points, but like you're not like the AA's been there, right? He just has not really had as many decisive this season. Like I don't think he's necessarily going to replicate what he did some of last season, but I don't think he's going to be as bad as like getting 0 decisives for like a 10-game stretch.
So I think the interesting thing about Kimmich is that because he's a forward card now, like we're comparing him to Vinicius, Haaland. It's funny. I just saw Jonathan David, like Cherky, Doku, Rodrigo. Like these are the guys that you're comparing him to. But we just had a whole conversation how there are not that many good midfielders.
Yeah, but there's not that many good forwards either. There's not that many good. But his forward card's way worse. Like I don't really have much interest in Kimmich midfield card. Like I've won 2 Kimmich midfield cards and I've sold both of them. And I bought a super rare forward like immediately.
If you what?
I said I won 2 midfield Kimmiches and sold them immediately both times I won them, and then I went and like really prioritized getting a super or forward. Just because like that's not an appealing midfield graph, but it's more appealing as a forward graph.
You know who has a better midfield graph is Tchouaméni.
Yeah, not arguing. Tchouaméni's fine. I go back. Someone asked what U23 forwards you would want this year, and they asked, is Vinicius Jr. good enough? Yeah, probably. I mean, he's had injury issues which make him look worse than he probably is, but like they're not as good. The issue is like he lost Benzema, which hurt. Like I think losing Benzema hurts him because Benzema is such a good finisher. But like Jude's probably fine. Haaland's good. Like he's good enough that you just play him and hope he rips off like a brace in games where you put him in priority lineups. Like there's other options as well. You know, it's been like, I mean, if you get Lairdinho and Nawave Doku, but like forward's just not very good, right? Like sort L15 quick.
Yeah.
Sort
by what?
Sort L15. Because it gives you a good idea at the beginning of the season, because the season's been about like a few games already. So like, like Alvarez's been pretty solid this year, and he's pretty locked in right now. I think he's a decent option. There's some.
I think you could make the argument that your expectations for Alvarez should have been higher. Like he hasn't been as good, even though he has all these set pieces.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. He hasn't been as good. His AA hasn't been as good, but like,
right.
It's been a weird spot with him because I told him Keith was looking for a forward the one weekend. Told him to go buy Doku, and he bought Alvarez instead. Surface said Rodri's open assist rate has doubled from last year, and he wants to know if you are actually watching the games, Laird. I can guarantee you Laird's
I think we all know that I'm not.
Guarantee you Laird's not watching the games. I do think that his shot and his I think his biggest impact is, like you said, it's with De Bruyne out. If De Bruyne is out, it takes away some creativity and leads to more shot volume from him probably. I've watched the City games. I saw him get a dumbass red card that got Doku pulled early because of it. That was annoying.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, he was already like a really elite. Like when they launched the Premier League, everyone was like, "Oh, we need to get Rodrigo cards."
Yeah,
like there was never.
Surface is saying Rodri's price has more than doubled since August. Doku's price has moved less. I mean, I didn't say you shouldn't have a Rodrigo either. I'm saying you should have a Doku in your gallery. Surface, I didn't say you shouldn't have Rodrigo.
Yeah, I'm not sure where.
Yeah, I don't know what the correlation with that is. Like Rodrigo's he wasn't bang. Yeah, but that's like he's not going to bang hundreds if he doesn't 90s plus. If he doesn't get decisives. Like it's just
90,
Rodrigo's like Tchouaméni, except for he has a much better floor. I think. Maybe I could be wrong on that. Like maybe it's pretty similar. Surface saying he'd rather have a second Rodri. Again, I'm not saying don't have 2 Rodris and no Dokus. I'm saying just get all of them. Like I'm sure there's other.
Can't play Rodri in a forward spot, in U23 forward spot. That was the conversation.
I'm saying you should have a Rodri because Rodri has the potential to be the best card in the platform, and he's 20, and he's not priced incredibly high.
Doku, you mean Doku?
Doku. Yeah, I'm saying like you should have Doku. Like you should have a Doku. He has the potential to be like a top 5 platform card, and he's 20 years old, and he's not priced like that. And he's already moved to the #1 team in the world. Like, if he moves down, he just will If he moves down, it's likely because he got injured and can't play, so he has to go back somewhere else because of that. But like, if he like left eventually and went to like Real Madrid, it's not like you're like, oh my god, this dude went to Real Madrid, what a loser. So like realistically, like, Doku has a chance to be like a high level card long term, and he's not priced like that. Like Doku's price should probably be higher on pure potential, in my opinion.
I mean, are there that many there? Yeah, I mean, I guess I would rather 3 Dokus than a Boniface.
Yeah, right. Like I'd rather, yeah, no. 100%. Has Doku overtaken Gil as your hall pass? No, Gil's still the GOAT, but Doku is really good. Doku's a really good card for a lot of people's galleries. Mike Bass had Doku to do his ACL.
It's not as many galleries as you.
No, it's not, but it's like Surface is one of the galleries.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like,
absolutely.
Like Surface should absolutely have a Doku in his gallery. But perfect. There we go. See, look at that. Sam is learning the spend more money tactic. He went out and spent more money right now. I guarantee you, I feel confident at some point in the next year, Sam's going to play Doku and he's going to rip 100 in like a spot he knew he was going to start. And Surface, he's going to DM me and be like, I'm glad I bought Doku. And I'm like, it's just like, what's the worst that happens to Doku? Like, if he doesn't play and he just is rotational piece for the next year and the platform as a whole, like, pretend the platform is stable, because that's the biggest differential. But like, if Doku's just a rotational loser for the next year, his price is going to be the same. He's not really going to go down if the platform is stable. If the platform's not stable, he's going to go down because that's just how it goes. Or if it's stable, if it's unstable the otherwise, then he'll go up. But like Doku, like if Laird's just if he's just a rotational piece the rest of the year, do you think he's really going to go below 0.34?
Yes, I do.
You think so? Why do you believe that?
Because, well, we're skipping the one very important piece that he has not had new season cards yet. Like, he doesn't have any Man City cards.
Okay.
So when there is more supply, I think his price, and he is a rotation piece, then yes, I think his price will go down.
I disagree. I don't think he goes down that much.
That's different.
Like, his upside is just so huge. Like, we've seen enough with his upside now to know that like his upside is just tremendous. Like, his upside is his AA is just so huge for someone. Like, he could be someone that maybe long term could get sets too. Like, he's not big, he's not a tall dude, so like it's not unrealistic that like maybe 3-4 years down the road he could take sets. And if he takes sets, like, dude's just unbelievable. So David wants to finish the U23 debate. He asked the top 3 U23 defenders. So we need to go do that, Laird, and then we can wrap it up. We went really long today.
Yeah.
So top 3 U23 defenders. Yeah, it's not pretty. Oh, actually, the answer is Sugawara. Sugawara's 1, but he aged out. But he's 1. 2, I don't know. De Kuiper.
He's the only one that I would consider.
The goal or the center or the fullbacks with sets is just a pretty important like piece. I feel. Pascal has also bought a Doku, so I'm just pumping Doku's bags today.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know. I mean, it definitely Sugawara. Sugawara would be the. Yeah, this guy seems fine. Does he have sets? Does Pfeiffer have sets? I don't know anything about this dude. Probably. You don't get there without
none. Sets. 0.
Scroll up. He has 1 on something else. What's that? Is that freak? Oh, yeah. All right. Well, I mean, no, fullbacks. Geertrida is also pretty good. But he like rotates sometimes, plays fullback and isn't as good. But Sugawara with sets is just like very good card. The issue is like, yeah, you're gonna have some shit matchups that just aren't good.
Like nobody's good that you need to have.
Yeah, like I think Sugawara. Like, I'll give you an example though. Sugawara had a super rare sell for an ETH last week, and I was like, damn, that's a criminal price. Because he's just like, I mean, he's just a really damn good card. 1.15.
He's going to get 100 this weekend.
Who do they play?
NEC or Heronveen? Yeah, Heronveen.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's a great spot.
Yeah, Heronveen, NEC in the next two in league, and then away to Excelsior. Yeah,
which Excelsior is fine too, away. Well, again, in the Villa games, like, you just don't care. Like, he's going to suck. But, I mean, you don't play him because of those games. You play him for the home game against Heronveen.
Yeah, that's going to be a Doku DNP anyway, so your lineup's dead anyway.
Yeah, that's actually
the 30.
So I haven't looked at 30. I did see he got defender cards, but I haven't looked at what his production would be. I'd assume he would be a pretty good card. Yeah, it's a decent card.
Much better. He was at 58 point. Well, let me just do L40. 59.8 to 61 point. Oh, man, that's good. A
couple points better. Yeah, so that's a good card for sure.
63 and just for Fenner. Yeah.
Yeah. And like also you're probably like that.
He out? Yeah, he ages out this year.
Yeah.
Or next year.
Yeah, Student War ages out too, but like they're definitely high end cards.
Yep.
Maybe
I don't think anybody's a must have.
Yeah. I agree.
Davies his AA has been much better lately.
It has. Well, I think Kane should help him.
Yeah.
Because Kane is better than what they were running previously.
Yeah. I think Davies might be a little underpriced.
Yeah, that's fair. You see I bought a Kim Min Jae Super this weekend?
Who did?
Last week? I did.
Oh.
So now I have like the Bayern Rare Pro stack minus the goalie. But I don't really care as much about the goalie, and I can always just go buy one when I'm ready for it.
I miss Chicago Fire, Sean, sometimes. You're just buying Bayern stacks.
Give me Madron back. Just give me Madron back.
Well, somebody, I was able to help. Was it Fripp who shared it? That Madron's team, so Madron doesn't play for one of like the state-owned teams in Saudi Arabia, but they're like overperforming, and it's all because of him.
Yeah, he's the best player in the league, probably. Sick. Super awesome. Super duper awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. And all right. Yeah, and he rips. Yeah, he plays on Al Talwoon. I know that. But they were so shit last year. They were terrible last year. They were lower end on the table, I believe, and he did not do well.
Well, he's killing it this year. So,
well, I mean, he didn't do well. It was just the team sucked last year.
Sora Malta just wanted to throw out Paul Jolly as a great upside. I think he's gonna. He said, but suffered from rotation. He's going to continue to rotate because they got Colin Dagba from PSG. I don't know if Jolly even starts all the time anymore. Yeah. Anyway, cool. Thank you to everybody for joining. That went a lot further than I thought we were going to, but appreciate that U23. I'm going to have to change the title of the show now since it was mostly U23. But thank you everybody for joining. If you could please like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Shout out to Quinny. And I guess we should probably do more of the U23 stuff because obviously people were talking about it. And I don't think this Doko thing is ever going to end. So maybe we'll return to that next week.
I used to be a hater, not as much as you, but I was a partial hater on Doku as well. But that's because he never really showed the ability to put the games together that he has in the last year.
Like 4 games together because he was.
No, he did a lot at Rennes last year that was like a lot more interesting.
All right. But anyway, thank you everyone for joining, and we'll see you next week.